Just recently, I've started to recognize that the interests one might have may not be clear yet. They may be behind the veil, they may be at the point where they are not too transparent. But why is that? Because we all do things we like. We are approaching lives, known or unknown, with our own ways, and we find things we like to do in them and do them. So we have interests, right? We know what we like to do, but it's not that easy. Interests or the things we do are not always being seen as some sort of an interest we have, because they might be covered, as mentioned. They might be behind the veil. They might just run on autopilot. We might do them. We also get a sort of feeling from them, but we don't know what we might be capable of doing with this specific thing and how much potential it might carry. Even though we do it every day, we look at it, we approach it, we build something in it, but it might be covered. So to see what is beyond the veil, or what our own possibility might carry, is a great objective to have in everyday life when we are at the spot where we don't know where to go, where we are certain enough that we feel that we are not in the right spot and we want to develop ourselves out of it, but we also aren't clear where our journey should lead us toward and where our actual destiny might be. And sometimes it might be at a complete different place as the things we might do every day already. Because it doesn't mean that the things you approach and actually look at in your free time are the things that might get you closer to your inner fulfillment. They might be some sort of thing as well that just got there because you're living in that life you live, and you are being thrown at things you might want to touch and use, when your inner fulfillment might lay at a complete different place. So there's a distance being built within that space we can call the distance from fulfillment. When the distance from fulfillment is being determined by someone else, because they impact things on you, they set you down into the sphere of a life that you gotta go after because it's what they want you to do, then the distance of fulfillment may be quite a big one when you start to feel that you're not at the right spot. But how can we minimize that distance to the fulfillment? Because there has to be a way. And I'm very convinced that we are able to get closer to our fulfillment by starting to see closer what we like to do, by starting to understand what the actual thing we do in our free time is that makes us or gives us some sort of drive. It can be a little thing, it doesn't matter, but there are things we like, and we can abstract the idea of what we like about it and implement it into some sort of ways where we can build on that interest and maybe even find something that can start to sustain our lives. But that's very often quite far from reality. This whole thought in general to see this thing you like to do and start monetizing or building something on it, that is a thought that's quite distant when you actually try to adapt it to your life. Because yeah, okay, I like to take photos, but I also don't like my job. I'm working in some sort of 9 to 5 or working part-time. I love to get out there, seeing the world. So I work there to have time that I can use to see the world. But I only do things in my free time for fun. And sometimes things are not tangible and it's unclear. And that's totally normal. Nobody laid these big bandwidth of opportunities in front of your legs and told you, yeah, you can choose. Because they don't want you to choose. They want you to work for them at best their whole life, so they don't have to worry about finding another person, paying for their education on that thing. So you're at the perfect spot, just staying where you are. Work your ass off here, please, okay? Not everyone's thinking like that, but it's a general thought we can, I think, yeah, we can relate to. So I got to see that it sometimes isn't about changing the situational feeling of I'm not feeling good at this job. I'm not feeling right at this place. Doesn't need to be a job or some sort of, it can be another action you do or things you do. Mostly it's a job because you ain't feeling good with the point you're at, and that's mostly determined by a societal structure we build in a capitalistic manner where we can see, okay, yeah, we could have more freedom when we would have made more money and got into a different kind of job, but that's not the case. But to start where we are currently heading, or where we could start to approach life with our minds pointed into a direction where we start to build on our interest and abstract the idea of what we like to do and start monetize on it, might also not be the right way to go. And why I think this is the case for some people is because you have another thing currently impacting your life that's way more important for you to understand. And that is your history. That is where you came from. That is what made you you today. And why you have been in this sort of structure you're in for that amount of time you're already in it. Because if you would have understood some more things about yourself, if you have had more opportunity to work on that past, on this state of mind you carried within with you all the time, you would have maybe developed yourself out of it earlier on. So why should you then try with all the force you can come up and shift things around in that sort of work life you're in, when the actual life of yours might be the biggest objective for you now, which will certainly unleash all the clarity you might need for your work life to get enhanced, to grow towards a direction where you can truly start to understand and start to build on the on your most intrinsic motives of development. And why I think it's so important, no matter where you are, no matter if you're having problems with in your life because you're feeling bad, or you haven't reflected on the life on the times before, or you're not having any problems at all, it's always an enhancer for your life to just start to understand where you come from, where your journey is heading, and what the dependencies from your life might be that constituted this whole situation you're in. Because it doesn't matter in which kind of situation I am. I could be the happiest person on this planet, or I can be in a completely bad shape, and it helps both sides so much. For sure, you will have a greater impact to start working on your history, on your life, when you haven't found out many things about it and have quite a journey in front of you still, that will give you all the possibilities and room back for your inner development. But I just found out that I wasn't recording in the way I wanted to. Doesn't matter. But the other side of the card, you can also see when you're in a great spot but still want to get further. It's also there it's good to just start understanding where you're at, where your position in life is, what the goal you're going after is, and where your journey is heading at that time and moment. So I don't think it's too important to overthink where you are currently at, when you and where you and how you might get it into a different kind of direction, when you can also know that there's so much from your own life that you can still start to understand and build upon. So why hurry about the thing that might just be like it is because you haven't understood what your previous life was telling you? Why should I start working on something that might bring up so much more things that are making the journey ahead harder, only to address this materialistic, capitalistic kind of thing about the problem? And that is where I'm currently at with my career or work life, when the other part might be the real thing and objective for you all the time, and that is your past. And why not talk to someone who got the proficiency to tell you or give you insights on your life that are showing you and inspiring you to make new kind of connections, to start understanding things about your life that you've never seen before. And this is a step that many people don't ever go. They don't go to some professional kind of person or a psychotherapist because they feel like it's weakness in them once they do this move. But it ain't. It ain't weak to talk to someone who is at their highest skill with that specific topic than you or your friends. Your friends will never be able to tell you things on that skill level as that person. And when you just see it as something or a person that has a skill base from something that you aren't aware of, because you aren't at their place, you haven't learned this for decades of experience. It's something, it's like a talk you can have with your mentor. In that specific thing, you don't see these kind of, psychotherapist, am I crazy? Do I really need that? No, I ain't crazy. I can do these things. I can solve these problems on my own. But when you think about your mentor, you would always try to say, yeah, I want to talk to that person because I'm so inspired by that person. But why just only be inspired by your mentor and coming up with the motivation to talk to someone like that, when you could also adapt this thought process onto a conversation you would have with someone who actually got the skills to rationalize and break down in a very structured way your life, that can help you understand things about your past and certainly give you the kicks into a direction that will bring the clarity to you that you can start to adapt into your work life. Because that is the initial idea of this concept I just gave you, and that is understand yourself first and work on your work life afterwards. Because as said, you might want it now, you might want to see another, or you might want to move yourself into a new direction because you feel like you're stuck at your work. Yeah, when you feel right about everything else in life, maybe it's the better choice to now just develop yourself on that. But when things are too unclear in this, and you struggle with some other stuff in life as well, with your own confidence, with your self consciousness about what is and what is not, then maybe it's better to start addressing these problems and get some help, trying to understand more and more and more about yourself and your past, that you can filter out what is necessary for you to make the right moves into the right direction before you get you get you get to see how hard it actually is to refine and knew where you're trying to head. And sometimes it can be such a vast space to tap into when it comes to redefining your place in your work life, because you might have to detach from so many different kind of things in life that it's a challenge on another level that you might not need now. Maybe just start at your life, at your past, work on it, try to understand, address the general topics in your life that make you feel you're struggling on, and take things out of that. And when you're not having the money to go to talk someone professionally, look for helps for some sort of, I don't know the English word for it now, but it's like there's so many governmental helping or how I call it. Yeah, it's like you get support for some sort of things, and when you come up with a reason, when it's something mental health related and so on. So get yourself grounded, get yourself vulnerable when you're in that position, because it's all right. It's good to be vulnerable in that case. And you can also always get back to the thought that you just want to talk to your mentor. You want to talk to someone who got great skills at the a great skill set at the thing that might broaden up your whole life in a way that you're starting to grasp things about your life you haven't before. So yeah, keep your eyes open and never forget about what you're capable of, because that's so much. And when it's not another person, then talk to the AI. When you just open up a new chat and tell the AI where your problems at, the AI gonna get some great stuff out of it as well. Maybe sometimes you just gotta speak it out to make some new connections. Yeah, I think you can make many great connections from that. So start to recognize them and address them. You can do it.